1066, the Norman conquest of England, the most famous date in English history. And the Norman conquest had an enormous impact on the English countryside, and one of the best places to see this is Castle Acre. As part of their conquest, the Normans built castles, monasteries and churches. These were intended to show the defeated Anglo-Saxons who was now in charge, but they were also the places from which they administered their landed estates. Castle Acre Castle was built by a powerful Norman baron, William of Warenne, one of the few people who we can prove crossed the Channel with William the Conqueror in 1066 and fought alongside him at the Battle of Hastings. And his original castle was enlarged by his son and his grandson, helpfully also called William. In the 1970s, the site of the castle was archaeologically excavated, which revealed important evidence for how the buildings had developed over time. The story of the castle is best told through the archaeological reconstruction drawings. The initial castle of William of Warenne dated to the 1070s and comprised a large stone keep surrounded by a bank and ditch and a gatehouse. You can still see the ruins of these structures very clearly on the site. But around the year 1140, the third William of Warenne began to dramatically rebuild the castle by heaping up earth around the keep, building a new stone wall and raising the height of the keep. This resulted in the huge earthworks that we can see today. But this grand design was never fully completed. At some point later, the project was truncated. More earth and a new wall were built around the keep, and with the keep itself, the front half was abandoned and only the rear section raised up and finished. So in the period from 1070 to about 1160, the castle had been transformed. It was finally abandoned around 1300 and became ruinous. But castles rarely went by themselves. Alongside the castle, there was an adjacent village, church, and also a priory. Together, this made up the Norman landscape of Castle Acre. But why build a castle here at all? Well, the reason is that Castle Acre sits astride two major communication routes. The first one, the Peddar's Way, is a Roman road which was diverted to run through the castle settlement of Castle Acre, which we still know and use today. The second major communication route was the River Nar. Not exactly a raging torrent, but in the Middle Ages you could get to Castle Acre by boat. For a warlike baron like William of Warenne, you may well commit a few sins along the way, so you need to think about the afterlife, and the best way to guarantee your place in heaven is to give land to the church in return for prayers. In other words, found a monastery. Castle Acre Priory was originally founded by William of Warenne I in the 1080s with monks from Cluny in Burgundy. Around 1090, the second William gave the monks land for a new monastery next to the village. The priory ruins are some of the finest in the country, including the best preserved 12th century toilet block you can see anywhere. Today, the priory is a peaceful ruin in the care of English heritage, but in the Middle Ages it housed 20 to 30 monks and over 100 servants and estate workers. As well as being a place for prayer and contemplation, the priory would have been a bustling hub with agricultural buildings once standing in the surrounding fields. So there you have it, Castle Acre. Castle, settlement and priory, a monument to the Norman conquest of England. Castle Acre is just one example of the impact of the Norman conquest on England. There are many more Norman castles, monasteries and churches in Norfolk to explore. Castle Rising near King's Lynn has a superb keep. The castle mound at Thetford is always worth climbing up, and of course there is Norwich Castle, which is currently being transformed into the Norman palace that it once was. If ecclesiastical buildings are more your thing, then there is of course Norwich Cathedral, and there are superb examples of Norman parish churches at Hales and at Lopham.